Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm gonna do a September update for you on how our homeschool went for the month of September. Anything that we changed, which if you watched my last update, I was like, oh, hopefully we won't be changing anything. We actually didn't change that much. I jokingly call September our settling in September. I felt like we finally settled into our homeschool. I felt like we finally found a rhythm and we just really got to enjoy homeschooling this past month. We did make two changes, one for each of my kiddos, right after I completed that last update video for you guys. I'll link that up above if you didn't check that one out. It is for our August update. But beyond that, everything kind of was steady going. I will say also with September, it really made me grateful that we homeschool because we had quite a few things thrown at us and some unfortunately sad things happened as well during September, and it really threw our calendar and our schedule off, and just am so thankful for the flexibility of being able to homeschool. All within a span of 2 weeks, these things happened. One, a car was T-boned behind our house. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Their cars were, it's just a miracle that nobody was hurt because their cars were completely mangled, but thankfully nobody was hurt. However, the one car that was T-boned, the car was pushed into our backyard, went right through our back fence. Thankfully my kids weren't outside playing, but it is in a spot between the fence and these trees that we have behind our fence where our kids do play. So now the kids are not allowed to play near the fence anymore because we do have that tree behind us, and it's the second time a car has been hit behind our house. The first one, just the car landed next to our fence. This one went straight through into our backyard. So that was kind of a crazy thing. We had to deal with insurance and our HOA, and we finally got the fence fixed. It was a little tough for my dogs. They don't like to go to the bathroom on leash. They like to be able to run. So not having a fenced in yard for a little bit was traumatizing for them. And then shortly after the car incident, my cousin passed away and I had to go back home up to Buffalo for his celebration of life. It was it was a tough time and it was very sad to go up there, but it was really wonderful to be around my cousins, my aunts, my uncles. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York. Most of my family still lives up there. So it was really wonderful to be able to see everybody. I wish it just was under better circumstances, but it did highlight the fact that maybe we should make more trips up to Buffalo to see my family for good reasons. So we'll be doing a little bit more traveling now because of that. And then after that, our dishwasher broke. It's like I laugh because it seems so trivial, you know, in the sense of the grand scheme of life, but it just was like one thing after another. And then I hand washed dishes for about 4 days, and I said, nope, this ain't the light for me. So we went ahead and ordered a new dishwasher. I YouTubed a bunch of videos about how to install one. I was like, I could do it. I could save us $250. And I did, and it hasn't leaked yet. There have been no electrical fires, so cross your fingers, everything stays good with that. But it's been kind of wild. And if you really want to close out the month, Helene came through the western part of my state. I live in North Carolina. We're in the central part. We did have a little bit of a touch and go situation with a tornado warning that Friday that it came through that morning. Thankfully there was rotation, but nothing touched down where we were. However, an EF3 tornado touched down just 45 minutes north of us and caused a lot of damage there. So, but nothing like what the western part of my state right now is dealing with. So, if you know anything about what's happening, it is apocalyptic the way that the mountains have been just left. Asheville, I mean, the small towns in between in the mountains in North Carolina are just suffering so much, and there's a lot of death and destruction that was followed in the wake of Helene. So if you guys find in your heart to donate or just do what you can to get the word out, to get help out there, you know, there's only so much we can do because a lot of the roads have been washed away because it's in the mountains. It's very bizarre, the topography, and with the flooding, and people are isolated and they're not able to be gotten to. So it's pretty tragic right now. But if you do find a good organization that's helping out, or if you're volunteering or anything like that, I think that's absolutely wonderful, and do what you can do, right? So again, thankfully we homeschool, so our life is flexible and we can create our own schedule. So enough with the negatives, let's talk about the positives of this month. Overall, we are absolutely loving our venture into the classical Charlotte Mason world. So much so that in the past week or two, the girls and I, we talked about it because I do take their opinion into consideration. I want to make sure what we're doing works for them, and I know it is, but I also just like to hear the feedback, and it reassures me that we're making the right moves. But we have decided to go ahead and, for the future moving forward, make Ambleside Online our main curriculum starting next year. This year we kind of dipped our toes in a little bit, taking a few books from literature and the riches from year one, but we didn't really do a lot of it. So what we're going to be doing next year is I'm going to put my youngest, who is 5, who will be 6 next summer, into the year 1 schedule. This is my dog. This is Sage. You want to say hi? She's like, play with my bone. So my youngest is going to go into year 1, and then my oldest will continue on into year 2. If you want me to, I can create a video on how we're going to do that, what we love about Ambleside Online, and why we want to continue to use them as our main curriculum. This past month has really just shown how much we love Charlotte Mason, the philosophies. I'm reading her, all of her volumes right now, and everything she says, I'm like, yes, like it's perfect. I agree with so much of the things that she has written in her volumes of home education all the way to a philosophy of education, her 6th volume. So we're really, really enjoying Ambleside Online, and we will continue to use them moving forward next year, but fully, not just like little bits and pieces from it. So if you want me to, leave it down in the comments. I will make a video about that, what we love about Ambleside Online, why we're going to choose to use it as our full curriculum moving forward. So now the big changes, let's talk about those. So first, the big change with my youngest, Charlotte, my 5-year-old, who is my kindergartner. If I could eat my words right now. We added back in Ordinary Parents Guide to Teaching Reading. I'm so excited because y'all know how much I love this curriculum at the end of last year and how well it was going for us. And then at the beginning of this year, and it's because I added in the McGuffey readers. Charlie, my youngest, was like, Mommy, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to do McGuffey readers. And it broke my heart a little bit. But we are going to actually continue to do the McGuffey readers. Now, the reason this got brought back in is because we got to a point in the primer, McGuffey reader primer, where the lessons jumped a little bit too much for her phonetic ability. And I needed something, like we needed to do more phonics in between before I moved her on to the next lesson, because it was 2-letter blends that we moved on to, and she just wasn't quite there yet. So I asked her, I said, you know, hey, I know you said you don't want to do Ordinary Parents Guide to Teaching Reading anymore, but I really feel like this would be a good time to bring it back in. I really feel like you were doing really well with it at the end of the last year. I'm not sure why you didn't want to bring it back in this year, but just do 1 lesson with me. Let's just try it out. And so we did 1 lesson, and she was just blasting through the lesson, doing so well, reading all the words that were in it. And she looked at me with a smile and she goes, we can add back in Ordinary Parents Guide to Teaching Reading. I was like, yes. So I'm so happy because I really do love this program. I think it's so well done. So what we are doing is we're doing Ordinary Parents Guide to Teaching Reading Monday through Thursday. So 1 lesson per day. Sometimes we split it into a lesson into 2 days. If there's a lot of reading, I can tell she's getting tired. So I'm like, let's pause here and then pick up tomorrow. But for the most part, it's 1 lesson every day or 2 days. And then we're getting to a point where the McGuffey reader is going to catch, this is going to catch back up to where the McGuffey reader is. And when that happens, what I'm going to do is basically do a McGuffey lesson on a Friday. So we'll do this Monday through Thursday, and then 1 lesson of McGuffey on Fridays, as long as it makes sense for where she is in the phonetics. So I'm basically teaching this as our direct phonics instruction. And then I'm using the McGuffey primer for copywork, narration, and reading, just really helping facilitate more of that reading and spelling and things like that. So I'm sure you can tell I'm very excited that we're adding it back in. Sage really just wants to be a part of this video. She's normally not this involved. Sorry guys, hold on. Okay, and the other change that we made had to do with she won't stop, with my 3rd grader, or excuse me, my 2nd grader, Emery. And I'm a little I feel a little self-conscious about what I'm about to tell you guys because we've gone through this journey and I felt like we figured out what we wanted and then it's changed, but I'm just going to tell you. So if you don't know, my oldest, we had a little bit of a journey trying to find the right math program for her last year, and we landed finally on Math with Confidence. Because we did that though, we were a little delayed, backed up with finishing this up. So we were bringing this into the beginning of this year. Well, this worked really well for her. And then we were coming to the end of this past month. And if you have been following me, you also knew that I did bring in Math Mammoth workbook skills review, I think is what they're called. And so I printed her off the first grade workbook, and she just liked it because it was additional just worksheets, because this is very limited in worksheets. If you've seen the program, it's just you do the front and the back of a worksheet per lesson, and that's it. The rest, the meat of the program is in the teacher guide, and you're doing a lot of hands-on talking, games, things like that. It's really actually great for number sets. I actually really love Math with Confidence. But I did bring in the Math Mammoth skills workbook review for her to just have some more worksheet practice because she liked it. And she was asking for it. And long story short, when we were on like the last couple lessons, one day she looked up at me from the Math Mammoth workbook review sheets, and she said, Mom, do they have a full curriculum? Does Math Mammoth do like an actual full curriculum, not just these review sheets? Because it's literally just one review sheet per lesson for their program. And I said, yeah, they actually have like a full curriculum, just like Math Confidence is. And she said, could I do that for our second grade math after I finish this? And I was like, well, why are you unhappy with Math with Confidence? You seem to be doing really well with it. And she basically just said, she goes, no, I really like Math with Confidence, like the games and things, but I kind of like Math Mammoth better because it's just really straightforward and to the point, the way the material is shared and the way you're doing the problems on the paper. And basically what I took from what she told me is that Math with Confidence is a little too fluffy and just too much. She just wants to sit down, you explain the lesson to her, and then she does it in the worksheet. And so I said, okay, well, before we commit to going one way or the other, because I do have Math with Confidence second grade bundle sitting downstairs in my office for her, I said, why don't we have you do the end of year testing for grade 1 and grade 2 to kind of like see where you land with Math Mammoth, but also I felt like it would give her more exposure to how Math Mammoth works, and I feel like she would have a better sense of if she liked it or not. So she went ahead and did the grade 1 end of year test assessment, and it says to do it like in 2 or 3 sittings. She blew through it. She was having so much fun with it. She loved it. And then she ended up like passing it with flying colors. I think she only got 2 problems wrong, and it's a hefty test. And so I asked her after she finished it, well, I told her, I was like, hey, you did fantastic on this, but did you like it? Is this how you want to be taught moving forward? And she said yes. She said with resounding yes. And I said, well, what do you want to do about Math with Confidence? She said, if we could keep actually the games in for Math with Confidence and then do Math Mammoth as my main curriculum, that would be really awesome. So essentially, I looked into doing addition and subtraction math facts that stick by Kate Snow, and I had some friends tell me that basically those books are the games that are in first and second grade books. So I'm not going to go ahead and buy those. I'm just going to keep the teacher guide from first grade and second grade and pull the games out of there whenever she wants to do a game to kind of reinstill the concepts we're learning in Math Mammoth. So we have switched over officially to Math Mammoth. She's doing second grade. She's in 2A. There's 2 books, book A and book B for each level. She's already gotten done with chapter 1, and she's working her way simultaneously through chapter 2 and chapter 3. Chapter 2 is about time and calendar. Chapter 3 is subtraction and addition facts, families, and it is a mastery program. So I'm bringing in, so basically we're doing chapter 3, which is the addition and subtraction facts, and every couple of lessons I'm throwing in one of the lessons from chapter 2 to kind of break up the monotony, because mastery can be a little like, it can get a little boring because you're focusing on the same thing for so long, and that's a way you can kind of bring in some spiral review too. And she's loving it. She's doing so well with it too. And another reason I think she likes this so much is because this provides a lot more independence to the student, especially because she's fully reading now. She barely even needs me. She's like, no, I don't need you to go over the lesson with me. So basically I have her read the top of the lesson and I ask her, do you have any questions? She's like, nope. She runs through it. I check her work. She's been getting everything right. So I think that this just jives better with her personality. She's Miss Independent. So, and she wants to grow up and be, you know, be her own person. And this, I think, was too much teacher and instruction and hand-holding for her personality. But it was exactly what we needed last year to get into her confidence, to build her confidence, math with confidence. It was exactly what we needed to build her confidence in math. And now that she has the confidence, little bird is ready to fly the nest, and she's doing it all on her own. Not all on her own, but you know what I'm saying. She has a lot more independence and autonomy using this program than she does with Math with Confidence. And I will be honest, having 2 kids in Math with Confidence, my youngest does it too, that's a lot with all the manipulatives. So now that I have only one, my youngest doing kindergarten, finishing up that math, it's a lot less pressure and work on my end, and I don't hate it, I'm gonna be honest, but I love Math with Confidence. So we're continuing that with my youngest. We'll see what she wants to do. But if you guys want me to, I can do a review on Math Mammoth. I can, well, not a review. Well, I guess we have been doing it long enough where I could probably do a review, but at least a flip through, an overview of the program. If you want that video, leave it down in the comments and I can get that filmed for you and give you my initial impressions. How about that? And then I'll do a full review probably at the end of the year once we're done with this. I did go ahead and get the digital copy. I bound and print this off myself. It's a lot cheaper that way, and especially with having a second child, if my youngest ever decides she wants to do this, it saves me a ton of money. I went ahead and got the bundle, grade 1 through 4, I think. Yeah, 1 through 4, and it was less than $120 for all 4 grades, and it comes with everything. And especially if my youngest decides to go through this program, it would be like $12 a year for both of them to do math. That's insane. So doing really well, really loving the change to this. And it just, yes, it's been a good fit for our family, and I'm glad we made the change for her. Even though I felt self-conscious about switching to another math program, I'm glad we did it. Ultimately, it's what's best for my kiddo. Okay, this video is gonna be a long one. I'm so sorry, guys. So I'm gonna talk about my youngest, Charlotte, real quick, just some quick updates or things that I just wanted to share with you guys. We went ahead and finished Get Ready for the Code Workbook A, and she is already halfway through Workbook B. We bought the bundle of A, B, C. I will tell you, with the way we're doing all of our other language arts and our other phonics and all that stuff, once we're done with Workbook C, she loves these. She loves these so much. She can't wait to do them. She wants to do like 10,000 pages in one day. But I will tell you that I feel like it's more busy work at this point for her. And it might be because she's not in the appropriate level. She probably should be level 1 or level 2 maybe at this point, because she's just flying through her phonics. But maybe that's it. But just for the cost and the time, I'm trying to simplify her homeschool. So I'll see how I feel after we finish Workbook C. I'm going to keep using them, obviously, because we own them. And then at that point, if she really wants to keep doing them, we'll do them, because obviously they're helping instill phonics, so it's not like a bad thing. But I just don't want to have too much busy work in our homeschool. So right now we're flying through Workbook B. Probably be done with C before this calendar year is even over, but she's loving these. Another thing I was going to mention with the Math Mammoth, now that we're talking about Charlotte, my youngest, she is flying through kindergarten Math with Confidence. Will probably be done in the next week or 2, which means she'll be moving into 1st grade Math with Confidence or Math Mammoth 1st grade. She really does like the Math Mammoth as well, because she got FOMO from her older sister getting to do those review skill sheets. So I looked at the 1st grade, the first couple of lessons of Math Mammoth, and I was like, oh, you can do this. This is addition and subtraction. So I went ahead and printed a few worksheets off just for her, so she felt like she was included too. And she's doing really well with them. And she, I don't know, she kind of said, same thing as Sissy, like, I really like this, but I also like the games with Math with Confidence. Can we just splice them together? So I don't know. I'm still undecided about this because I really think that this is great. Math with Confidence is a great program for when the kids are younger. It really helps them with number sense. It's hands-on. It's just not workbook heavy, which I think is good when you're younger. But my youngest also really just likes math and gets math, and maybe she needs to go with Math Mammoth because that's going to be what she needs for her increased aptitude for math. I don't know. So we may be switching over to Math Mammoth. I'll keep you posted in the next update. I don't know. We'll see, but I'll keep you posted there. So that's it for my youngest. For my oldest, her reading has just taken off. She is a voracious reader. I mean, she was always kind of good with the phonics, and she went through her phonics program really quickly and just, was a naturally good reader. But recently something switched, and she is working her way through the entire Magic Treehouse series on her own. And during our quiet time, we do quiet time for about 45 minutes every day right after lunch, and she's using that time to do independent reading, and she is just like flying through them. And I just think I've heard this, but something overnight one night just clicked, and it's like the words just make sense on the page to her, and she's just, I don't know. It's insane. I love watching it though. It's so cool. I'm to the point, actually, I think I might get her a Kindle Paperwhite reader. It's not the tablet. It is just to read books. It is truly like an old school Kindle. I might get that for her for Christmas because otherwise we're going to run out of space on our bookcases for all the books that she wants to read. So that's been really, really fun to see. She's killing it and reading. It's so fun, and I love to read, so that just makes my heart happy. She's also started doing her own written narrations. So prior to a couple weeks ago, she would narrate orally to me, and I would write it down in her McGuffey Reader notebook. Well, now, one day she just said, "Can I write it?" And I was like, sure. But I write it down on a whiteboard. She still orally narrates it to me, but then she writes it down from what I've written. So it's more like copywork, I know, but it's just more so I want her to have the words correctly in her mind, and I don't want her writing down something that is spelled incorrectly or punctuation's wrong, things like that, because I don't want her to memorize the wrong way to do it. So, but she's starting to get that stamina for writing, so that's kind of been really neat to see. Another thing we changed, well, it didn't change, we just brought it back in. Initially we had paused All About Spelling Level 2. We are now bringing it back in. We've been doing it the last couple weeks, and we do just one lesson a week. I will tell you, we are leaning towards more not continuing this after level 2 because of the way we are using our McGuffey readers. For my oldest especially, we are using it for spelling too, and she's really taking well to the way that we're doing that for her, and she's really enjoying that. So I think after this is done, we may not continue with All About Spelling, just because again, she's a naturally good reader, and I think she's just a naturally good speller too, and I think what we're doing with the McGuffey reader is exactly what she needs. I'm also realizing, along with loving Ambleside Online, with the McGuffey readers, we're approaching it with a Charlotte Mason lens on it, doing narrations, copywork, spelling, picture study, because they've got beautiful pictures in them. We're doing dictation. It's all the Charlotte Mason. I mean, I know that she says not to do written narrations until year 4, but we're doing it a little earlier just because it makes sense for my daughter. But I'm loving how cohesive doing our Charlotte Mason language arts through McGuffey readers is. And I love that both my kids are taking well to the McGuffey readers. Like I said, with my youngest, we only just brought in Ordinary Parents Guide just because I want her to have direct phonics instruction. And that's not a knock on the McGuffey readers. That's more, it makes me feel just a little bit better. But we're just really leaning into the Charlotte Mason lifestyle, and I'm now realizing why it's become so popular lately. I get it, because it's a great way to teach your children. It's a great way to live, because it's not just an educational pedagogy and philosophy in my mindset. It's a life mindset, and I really love it. So that's going really well. One thing I was going to mention for math, I did go ahead and get my daughter a specific math notebook. She's got little stickers on it. We learned about axolotls. She's really into Pokemon, all the good stuff. But this I got off Amazon. It was really reasonably priced too. and it has gridded paper, which I love. So this is 3/4 inch gridded paper. I think for next year I'll get her the 1/2 inch. I already found a notebook that has the 1/2 inch gridded paper, but it just allows her to line up her 10s and her 1s in the right spot as she's doing double digit and above subtraction and addition. Now there's points in Math Mammoth where they say, we're not giving you any space to do scratch work because we want you to do this mentally. And that's fine. So I tell her, do that part mentally, because that's they're having you work on mental math. But other stuff where it doesn't require mental math and they're like, go ahead and write it down, this has been working better for her. I'll link this down below if you guys want to check it out. It was off Amazon, very reasonably priced, and she's loving it. And lots of space for stickers if your kids are into stickers. So now talking about updates that don't pertain specifically to one of my either or of my daughters, but like overall updates. We got to introduce Shakespeare this past month, Tales from Shakespeare. I went ahead and got this off Amazon. I used the free version of it on the on Gutenberg project. Just with the first one we did, Midsummer Night's Dream, before I purchased it, I want to make sure my kids like Shakespeare, because I feel like this is a hit or miss, but I don't know, the girls loved it. And so I went ahead and purchased this because this is a spine for Ambleside Online for the first 3 years, so might as well have a good version of it. So this is a good one. This is the Charles Lamb and version, which is kind of, they tame it down for kids to be able to understand it better, but the dictation is still very high and lots of vocabulary, and I mean, it's just really good literature. So we did Midsummer Night's Dream, and we just started The Tempest, so we got through halfway through The Tempest. I think it also helped a ton with my girls loving it that I printed off puppets for them to kind of keep all the characters straight. So these were some of the puppets, they're print off on popsicle sticks, some of the puppets for Midsummer Night's Dream. And then these were actually hand drawn by one of the moms in Ambleside Online on our Facebook group, and she shared the files for free to the rest of us to use and print off, and I went ahead and colored them. I mean, I could have had my girls do it, but I never get to color anything, and it's just so fun and relaxing. So one night I just stayed up and colored them, and I glued them to popsicle sticks and wrote the people's names on them. So they got to, I divvied these up between the two of them, and whenever I was reading and somebody came up, they would bring it up and they would kind of reenact what happened, and they just loved it and had the best time. And then for The Tempest, I'll link this down below. It's a website. It was called like Shakespeare Week or something like that. And I just printed them off on cardstock, put the name of the character on the back, and they're finger puppets. So the girls act them out who they are when I'm reading the story, and they have the best time with them. So super cheap, almost free thing. I mean, you have to pay for the cardstock, but in the printer ink, but almost free way to get your kiddos involved in Shakespeare. So that's been kind of fun. So we're really loving this, and we'll continue to keep it in our curriculum. Next up, Space Science through Blossom and Root is going so well. The girls are having so much fun with it. We just got to design and build our spacecraft, and recently learned about gravity and life at zero gravity up in space and what that's like. And they're just having the best time. It really taps into their imagination. We've got great books and literature, spines that we purchased, and then others that we're bringing in from the library that the curriculum recommends. And they're just having a blast with it. So I feel like I'm prepared to do a review on it now. We've gone through 9 weeks of it already, and I feel like I've done enough of it where I can tell this has just been one of the biggest hits in our homeschool so far, and they're having the best time with it. So definitely keep an eye out for a Blossom and Root Level 0 space review video coming up soon. So for literature, our free reads that we did so far this month was The Velveteen Rabbit. This version of the book, I don't know if it's in print anymore because I can't seem to find it anywhere, but it has beautiful illustrations. I found it at a thrift store. So we completed that. We're just about to start The Secret Garden. The girls really like this, by the way. This was a big hit. And then something that we included, we joined a book club with a couple of families, homeschooling families in our neighborhood. And so this is our book club book that we are just about to finish. It's called Cloudlanders. This is a new book. My youngest She hangs out. She likes listening, but she doesn't really fully get it. But my 7-year-old is loving this. It's a fun read, so definitely recommend. No bad things in it, but it is about trial and coming over adversity and making friends with people who are different from you. There's magic in it, so if that's not your speed, this might not be for you. But it's just super sweet, and there's like valor and, overcoming the bad guy, and good wins, good versus bad, evil. So really good story. So we've been loving that so far from a literature perspective. And Spanish is going really well. We're still loving it. The girls are retaining information. We're actually, one of the reasons I really like this program is because the retention is so high with my kiddos. We were at the thrift store a little while ago, and we were waiting to check out, and the woman who was the cashier was speaking to the customer in front of us. They were both speaking in Spanish. And my oldest looks at me and she goes, "They're speaking Spanish, I can tell." And it was like, good job. The fact that she recognized the language. And she's like, "Can I talk to her in Spanish when we get up there?" I was like, "If you would like, absolutely." And so we walk up and Emery goes, "Hola, ¿cómo estás?" And the woman just lit up, and she was like, and I was like, yeah, go ahead. She doesn't know a ton, but we're learning. And she goes, "Oh my gosh, that's so wonderful." And they kind of had a conversation back and forth, broken a little bit because my daughter only knows so much, but she was able to communicate with her somewhat in Spanish, and that was just like highlight of my life, just seeing what we do in homeschool being used out in the real world. Amazing. So homeschool languages is still going wonderfully, and we're still loving it, and I think we will continue to. I don't foresee us stopping anytime soon with this guy. Some things not having to do with curriculum, we actually decided so we're a part of like a homeschool group, which is more we go to field trips or we get together for lunch in the park or things like that. It's not entirely education focused where like a parent's teaching about a topic every time we get together. It's more we're outsourcing these things to, like, we went to a chocolate factory to learn how chocolate was made. We went to a lecture on oxalotls. Those kind of things. Whereas we also were part of a co-op that my friend actually created, and it's a great co-op. However, where it is, the locations are just spread out so far. It's just it took too much time to get to the event, then get to hang out at the event, and then leave and come back. And then we've wasted we've used our whole day at that point, and we would lose the ability to do anything else in our homeschool. So we unfortunately took stock of everything and realized like we needed to take it off our plate. And we'll still get to see our friends and everything from the co-op, but it just was the right thing to do for our schedule and our ability to use our time wisely, essentially. On another note, soccer for both my girls. They both started soccer back up a couple weeks ago, and they both scored the first goal in each of their first games of the season. And they're both just doing really well. I don't know, it just clicked for them this year, and they're just kicking butt. It's the best way to explain it in soccer, and they're loving it. So that's been really neat to watch them kind of come alive in sports now. And then some things that I wanted to mention that's coming up. We were a couple weeks out from term 2. So term 1, our first 12 weeks, is coming to an end here soon. I've got about another 5-ish weeks before term 2 starts. So I'm going to start my pre-reading for term 2. I only did pre-reading for term 1 this summer because I figured if I read too far ahead, I wouldn't remember any of it, even with my notes. And then something we're adding in because we decided to do Ambleside Online as our main curriculum. One thing that we didn't include this year from year 1 that I want my oldest to not miss out on is an island story, or Our Island Story. There's 2 different titles. It's the same book, but it is a history spine for Ambleside Online. I'm going to include that for term 2 and term 3 of this year for my oldest. My youngest can sit in if she wants to, but she's going to be reading it again next year, so she doesn't have to. But it's normally done over term 1, 2, and 3 for year 1. But since we are almost done with year 1, I'm just going to have all the readings done over the first 2 terms, it can easily be done because the way they have it scheduled normally is you do 1 chapter every other week, so we can easily do it over 2 terms without it feeling like a lot of work for us. So that way she just doesn't miss out on any of the good history from the beginning. of Ambleside Online's history stream. And it's specifically for like American history, because they have you start with English history, because our American history is a very new history. It's only a couple hundred years old, whereas other people's history across the globe is centuries old. So it's really kind of cool actually how they look at it, because they see our history is actually English history too, because that's where we were born out of, right? We came out of England, and then a lot of people migrated. I came out of Ireland, but you know what I'm saying. It was originally English history too. So I think that's kind of neat. So we're going to start that starting next term, which is going to be pretty fun, and I'm pretty excited. I did a little order that I'm going to have come in, and I'll probably share with you guys in one of my updates, but that's it. That's a lot when I say that's it. I'm pretty sure this video is going to be about 40 minutes long. But if you guys have any questions about anything I mentioned, leave it down in the comments. You know what to do there. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you are new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. Love to have you stick around for any future updates and all things homeschooling. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.